All right, so today we're going to do something a little different. We're not actually here to teach you chemistry. Nope. We're going to do something, I think, much more powerful. We're going to take apart a brilliantly designed educational script to figure out the blueprint for learning, well, anything more effectively. This isn't just about cramming for a test. It's about understanding how knowledge is built. Let's start at the beginning with how a great lesson kicks off. You see, every great lesson, every really effective one, starts by zoning in on a core problem, a friction point, a place where students tend to get stuck, and in a high-stakes situation like an exam, a place where they lose valuable marks. And the script we're looking at does this perfectly by focusing on one very specific and very common point of confusion. Okay, take a look at this. You've got one chemical compound, but two different names. And let's be honest, they both look kind of right, don't they? This is a perfect hook. It immediately gets your brain working, creating this little moment of uncertainty. It's not a random question, it's a targeted challenge designed to feel just like a real exam question. And boom, this is where the script really hooks you. It raises the stakes. This isn't just some academic puzzle. It's a real problem with a real consequence. You either get the marks or you don't. This one sentence completely changes the game. It turns a simple question into something you absolutely need to know. Now you're ready to listen for the solution. So how does this script solve the problem? Well, it doesn't just give you a quick answer. It uses a deliberate, multi-step structure that's actually designed for deep learning and, more importantly, for retention. What we're really looking at here is a blueprint for success, one you can use for pretty much any subject you want to get good at. So if we zoom out, you can see the whole blueprint breaks down into these 4 key phases. It all starts with that powerful hook we just saw, then it gives context for why it's important. From there, it moves into a super clear explanation, reinforces it all with practice, and then wraps up with a quick revision to make sure it all sticks. Let's dive into that first phase. You know, the beginning of any great lesson isn't just about throwing a bunch of facts at you. It's about building a really solid foundation. It's about grabbing your attention, showing you why it's relevant, and then laying down the core ideas as simply as possible. Okay, this next move is just genius from a teaching perspective. Before getting into the how, the script tells you why. It's basically saying, hey, pay attention because this is exactly the kind of stuff they're going to ask you on the exam. That creates instant buy-in and helps your brain focus only on what's most important, cutting through all the noise. And check this out. This is the art of simplification in action. Instead of some dense textbook paragraph, you get 3 simple, clear steps. Select, replace, number. It's not just easier on the eyes. It's way easier for your brain to process and lock into memory. It's a clear recipe for getting the right answer. So remember that first question we had, ethylamine or ethanamine? Well, here's the payoff. The script doesn't just tell you which one is right. It puts the 2 naming systems right next to each other. You have IUPAC, the official systematic way, versus the common name. This side-by-side comparison is so powerful because it directly addresses the exact point of confusion and builds a much deeper understanding. Now, this is a really clever technique. The script knows that our brains can only handle so much new information at once. So what does it do? It takes a trickier concept, like this N prefix, and it calls it out, labeling it as high level. That's a signal to you, the learner, to say, okay, maybe lean in a little closer for this part. It's a great way to guide your focus and keep you from feeling overwhelmed. All right, so just knowing something, that's only half the battle, right? Being able to use that knowledge when it counts, under pressure, that's the whole game. This next part of the blueprint is all about turning that passive knowledge into active mastery. This is where we stress test what you've learned. And how do we do that? With practice. But wait, look closely. This isn't some random question. It's an exam-style question that directly tests that high-level concept we just talked about, the N prefix. Applying it right away helps cement the idea and shows you if you really got it. So go on, what do you think the answer is? So, the answer is C. But here's the thing, the real magic isn't just knowing it's C. The magic of this method is that a great script will also break down why A and B are wrong. That simple move turns a quiz into a full-blown review, reinforcing all the rules by showing you exactly how they work and how they don't. Okay, I've got to say, this is one of my absolute favorite parts of this entire blueprint. This is where the teacher basically becomes your ally against the exam. By clearly listing out the most common mistakes, the script is saying, I know where you're likely to trip up, and I'm going to help you sidestep it. It's proactive teaching at its best, turning those potential traps into things you're ready for. All right, so you've learned the stuff, you've even practiced it, but how do you make sure it's actually going to stick around for exam day? Well, the final phase of this blueprint is all about that, long-term retention. Just look at this. How clean and powerful is that? The script boils down the entire lesson into 4 super high-yield facts. This isn't for learning it the first time. This is for lightning-fast recall. You can think of it like a mental flashcard, something you can review in 30 seconds right before you walk into the exam. It's all about speed and confidence. So when you step back and look at the whole thing, you realize we haven't just been looking at a chemistry lesson, have we? We've been looking at a masterclass in how to teach and learn effectively. It proves that having a good structure, the hook, the context, the clear explanation, the practice, the revision, isn't boring. As the slide says, it's the architecture of memory. And that really just leaves us with one final thought, one final question for you. Yeah, we used chemistry as our example today, but this blueprint, this applies to anything. Learning a new language, picking up a coding skill, understanding a complex moment in history. So the real question isn't about chemistry, it's about you. What could you truly master with the right blueprint?